19, host 13.
No, yaar, how can you write this into a subnet mask? Avinash? Avinash, you there?
Satya, it is.
Ah.
Can I tell the answer?
Sorry?
Shall I say the answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
255
Ah.
dot 255
Ah.
dot 224
Uh-huh.
dot 0.
Guys, have anyone able to understand this, what she said? Avinash, you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Able to understand? Okay. Now for /23, Ashwini, can you write it down? Simple, guys. Simple. So IP address is 20. See, 1 octet is equal to how many bits?
8.
Okay, 8 bits, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then 23. Okay. So it's going to be 255.255.255.23. Okay. So which is how much? How much? What is the value of this here?
128.
Correct. 128. Okay. For /17, Avinash, can you tell me what is for /17? How much it will come?
One moment.
Huh?
Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll 255.255.128.0.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So Rachit, can you tell me for 29?
Yes, Satya. Two 255.255.255.
Okay.
27, right?
29.
29.
Uh,
So 128 plus 64 4 plus 32 16 and 8 24 6 56. Two calculations. 116. 248.
correct. 248.
Yeah.
Okay. Ashwini. Ashwini.
Yes, sir.
For 24, what is the subnet mask? How can you write it into subnet mask format?
255.255.255.
255, 255 dot?
255 dot
Ah.
192.
Why 192?
0.
Right. 0. The new people, Trimlesh.
Yeah, Satya.
Because all the 24 bits is filled, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's you don't have anything to fill in.
Can
So
you
that
write
will
it
be
for 23, Trimlesh?
Yeah, Satya, 1 minute.
23, it's done already.
Done, nah? Hold on then. Hold on.
Okay, sir.
21. Can you write it for 21?
Yeah, 1 minute, Satya. Yeah, it's 255 dot 255 dot 248 dot 0.
248, huh?
Yeah,
Dot 0.
21.
Okay, I hope everyone is clear with this one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Rachit, are you clear on this one? Subnet mask and all concepts?
Yes, Satya.
Okay. All right, cool. Just 1 minute, guys. Triplesh, can you check with Abdul? He's joining or not? If not, we can start proceeding the
Yeah,
class.
okay. Yeah, okay, sir. Yeah, Satya, start the class. He will join in 5 minutes.
Ask him to don't join the class. Seriously, you inform to
Yeah,
him.
okay.
I'm just removing from the group.
Yeah, okay, okay. Okay.
Guys, one more thing. I already told you, so you have to be on time, because if anything is which missing from my side, that is fine. I apologize, but so I'm adjusting my time and all these things. I'm just telling to you. I know you're working professionals, but spending 1 hour is not a big thing for each and everyone. Okay, so let's get into the class. So let's talk about the OSI model. So guys, if you remember, so when I told you what do you mean by network, so what you people said, can we just recap the previous session? So what do you mean by network? And
Sharing of
why?
resources.
Yeah, sharing of resources. Perfect. Sharing of resources. So what kind of resources? See, we are sharing the resources over the network. We are using network to share the resources. So what do you mean by sharing the resources? What do you mean by sharing the resources?
Giving and taking resources, particular data.
Yeah, see, see, we use the network for sharing of resources. We use for file sharing. Okay, file sharing over the network. See, everything, if you want to communicate from, for example, if you want to send an email from one user to another user, so it has to be go over the network. What it has to be go over the network. See, I have a PC. Okay, so which I'm connecting to my router. So as soon as I connected, right, automatically it's getting the IP address. How it's getting the IP address? Over the network. Okay, so there is a process, guys, careful listen. There is a process, okay, to communicate, okay, to communicate with the other users, or routers, or this or the servers and all. There is a process. So how the PC is sending up traffic, okay, and how PC is receiving the traffic, there is a process. All these things are happening over the network. So the purpose of network is used for file sharing. For example, if you want to send an email, right, so or you want to attach any if you want to attach and send it to anyone, so just like a file sharing and resource sharing. So what did I told about resource sharing? For example, if you're in the office network, okay, so you have a printer. What you have a printer, Okay, so if you want to connect, if you have, let's take it, you have 10 people are there, 10 computers are there, everyone wants to access a printer, so it's not for everyone. So for each and every computer we cannot connect the printer, right? It's gonna cost a lot of money. So what we people do, so we have a one common printer and we'll connect the printer to the network. So once it's connected to the network, right, so all the 10 computers, they can access to the printer over the network. This is called as a resource sharing. So this is a resource, okay, and you're sharing that resources. And also file sharing, so if you want to share the file to this guy, to this guy, so over the network you're sharing. And similarly application sharing, application sharing. So if you want to send any, you have some application here, okay, so if you want to use, all the people, they want to use that application and they want to share it, right? So they can also use it, so they can also do that application sharing over the network. So you got some idea on, so what do you mean by network and all. So whatever it is doing over the network, right? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, Satya.
So whatever you're doing it over the network, correct? So how network is being designed, whatever you're sending it, okay, see, I'm just repeating it again. Whatever you're sending over the network, you're sending over the network. So I just want to ask you how the network is being designed. You got it? See, you have a beautiful house, let's take it. Okay, so see guys, this is one apartment. Okay, so you have all the flats. This is block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, 8. So we have 8 8 floors are there, 8 buildings are there. Okay, so so everyone can see this one, the people from the outside, they can see, and if they want to communicate, right, they can communicate. Okay, so they can communicate with each and every one. Okay, but can you tell me how this building has been designed and constructed? How this
Based on
building
the
is
based on the customer requirement.
correct, based on the customer requirement. And see, who is going to build this who is going to
Architecture.
construct, correct, architectures, right? Okay, so what this architecture will do,
He'll basically design the plan for the
correct, they basically design the plan, right? So based on the plan itself, this is entire process is being built. So when it comes to the networking, right, based on the network, okay, all these things are being done. So how the network is being designed, based on the OSI model. Okay, so based on the OSI model. So OSI model stands for open system interconnection. Now you got it. So what is the main purpose of OSI model? So OSI model is designed to build the networks, okay, and it is a framework. So what type of framework? This framework is tell you, okay, how network is being designed and how to send the data from one computer to the another computer, or from one network to the another computer, another network. Got some idea now? What do you mean by network and all?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, guys. Any questions?
No, no, Satya.
So OSI model is designed to build a network, and it's a framework. So what type of framework? This framework which is tell you how the data is being sent from one network to another network, or from one computer to another computer. So if you see the printer example, right, so this is a resource sharing. Okay, or let's take it, you have a router, wireless router. This is also kind of resource sharing only. So if you want to connect to, if you want to connect to the Google or, Facebook or Amazon, right, on your PC, first of all, you should have an IP address. How you're getting an IP address? Okay, so this PC is going to communicate with the wireless router over the network. So you're going to see that in practically, so how the network is being designed. Okay, so based on this, so the network is being designed based on the OSI model. Okay, any questions before we getting into the next topic? Rachit, Ashwini, Megla, Trimlesh,
No, Satya.
all good?
No, Satya.
All good. So let's continue with the next one. So this OSI model, right? So the purpose of the OSI model, so now we saw what do you mean by OSI model, but why they developed this OSI model? Why the ISO, International Standard for Organization, has developed this OSI model? So why they developed?
So why they developed means because each and every organization follows with the same principle and the rules for building and network architecture.
Okay, see guys, can you tell me one question which I've already asked you in the first in my first class? So what are the basic components required to build a network? What are the basic components required to build the network?
PC, switch, router,
Uh-huh.
firewall.
Okay, next.
RJ45.
Okay, RJ45. Next.
Cat5, Cat6 cable.
That all comes under RJ45. Next.
Access point,
Access points. Okay.
modem.
Modem.
Okay,
Servers.
modem servers. Okay, good. Next. Last time also you missed one very important thing. What do you see that? All good so far. What is the one important thing that you're missing it?
Firewalls.
What is this called?
PC.
No, ma. See, what is this called?
NIC card.
Right. Network interface card.
Okay, okay.
Okay. See, let's take it, guys. If you take this PC, so this PC is from the Dell computer. Okay. So what do you have inside the OS? OS is from where? OS is from where? It's my Windows machine.
From the
What is the
system.
operating system I'll be having?
Windows.
Windows OS, right? Okay, so this is my network interface card. So this network interface card is manufactured by Intel. Let's take it. And this is my network switch. So this network switch is from Dell switch. And this is my router. This router is a Juniper router. So this is a network switch is from Dell. They have their own OS. They have their own Juno OS. And this is a firewall. It's from Palo Alto. Okay, and we have ISP router. This is from Arista switch. And this is an internet backbone. So internet backbone is nothing but, guys, it is a bunch of routers will be there. Okay. And finally we have a Google server. So this server, it can be an HP server, it can be a Dell server. Okay, so inside this Google server, you have a service for web server is running on. Whatever the traffic which is coming over the web, it will go to the and hit to the web server. So this is a physical server, guys. This is a physical server. Inside the physical server, you have a some part of service. It's for web service. Okay, so whatever the traffic is coming, whatever the traffic is flowing, okay, right here, it will go and hit to this web server because this is a web traffic. This is a web traffic. Okay, now let's come back to the question. So why this ISO has developed this OSI model? So what do you see this one here?
Every company have some certain standards, but they can't communicate with each other. Like Intel can't communicate to Dell,
Correct.
Dell can't communicate to Juniper, Juniper can't communicate to Palo Alto. So for to communicate with each and every the devices, they have developed OSI model.
See, initially, guys, before 1970s, 1980s, before 1974. So let's take it. This is my organization. So this is my building A. Okay, this is my building B. So both are office. This is one office and this is one office. Okay. So I have the same. Okay. See, guys, if my PC wants to access any files from this IBM server, right? So it can communicate because everything is in the same OS. Or if my PC wants to access the, if my PC wants to communicate with this PC too, which is in building 2, right? Okay. Or if my PC, this is my PC, wants to access the file server. I'll tell you what do you mean file server. Okay. File server is the place. This is a place, guys. This is a store, file server where all the files will be located, placed here. Okay, so file server, this is a file, this is a server. Okay, so the request will go and hit to this file server. Inside this file server, there'll be some files will be there to access those files. So now if you see this one, right? So first it is going, to IBM servers. So, it will go like this, it will go and it will communicate like this. Okay, so this IBM server can only communicate with this IBM server, or if you have PC with the own OS, they can only communicate with this PC with the same OS. So IBM machine can only talk with IBM machine only. Okay, for example, if you have a HP server, right? So this IBM server cannot talk with the HP server. So this is called as an interoperability issue. What is called, guys? Interoperability issue. So what do you mean by interoperability issue na? So one vendor cannot communicate with another vendor. Okay, cannot communicate with another vendor. So that is what it is called as na, so this is one vendor cannot communicate with another vendor na. So that is an interoperability issue. So to resolve the interoperability issue, that's why they have developed this OSI model. So if you look into this one, right? So we have a different components here. So the Dell is a piece of hardware. Okay, so inside the Dell you have a Microsoft OS. Okay, and you have a network interface card which is from Intel, and you have a CAT. This is a Cat 5, Cat 6. This is developed by Xerox company. Okay, and you have a switch which was developed by OS, and again you have some fiber optic cables between these two, and you have a router which is from Juniper. See, it's all different vendors. So it's not possible for this PC. It should have all the same, all the same hardware and same software. That is practically it is not possible. Okay, and it's very tedious job. So to resolve such type of issues, that's why they developed this model that is called as OSI model. Got it, guys? Now you understand. So why they developed the OSI model?
To resolve
Meghla?
inoperative.
Yeah, Meghla, Ashwini, Avinash, Virulesh.
Yes, Anna.
So now you understand what do you mean by, so what is OSI layer then? What is OSI layer? See, when I've seen so many people when they're interviewing, so when I'm interviewing the people, right? So when they say about OSI model, they just simply say OSI has 7 layers, but no one says OSI model is actually a framework. This framework is going to tell you how data needs to be sent from one computer to the another computer. So the purpose of OSI model is, the purpose of OSI model, so is to resolve the interoperability issues. Okay, so that's how, and after that they're gonna people after that has to say OSI model has 7 layers. So this is what, if anyone asks you what do you mean OSI layer, right? Don't directly jump into the all the 7 layers. That doesn't make sense. Okay, because that will give you a very it's just like, even when people comes to me, right? If I ask you, if I ask OSI model, if they say about application layer, there are 7 layers, definitely that candidate is rejected only for me. Okay, so they should say what is the use of this OSI layer. Okay, now any questions before we proceed further? Okay, so now OSI model has 7 layers. Everyone knows this one, correct?
Yes,
Yes
yes,
or
yes.
no? So what is the
Yes,
first
sir.
layer?
Yeah, it's application layer.
Application. Next layer?
A presentation
Presentation.
layer.
Presentation.
Next layer, Ashwini?
Session.
Session layer.
Session layer.
Hold on, Ashwini, what is the next layer?
Transport.
Next layer?
Network.
Rachit, what is the next
Data
layer?
link.
Data link and physical.
Okay, physical layer. Be ready with the questions. Okay, so application layer. So see guys, there are some people, okay, so I told you yesterday, when when you talk about OSI model, right, you have to go in this order only. So there are some people, they will say physical layer, data link layer, network layer. That's a stupid thing. Seriously, that's a stupid thing. So why is a stupid thing? Now I'll tell you the reason. See guys, you are the user. First of all, the user is there. Who is the user? You are the user. Rachit is the user. Avinash is the user. Trimalesh is the user. So Satya is a user. Meghala is a user. Okay. So if I'm the user, so say I'm a man. Okay. I have my computer. Okay. I have my computer. So I open my browser. This is my browser. And I'm typing www.amazon.com. So when I type amazon.com, so what is happening? First, what is doing here now? So what this guy did? The user is interacting with the application. So when you look into this, right, the user which is interacting with the application. So what is the application is interacting? A browser is an application. So when you type amazon.com, right, which is in turn interacts with the application protocol. So that is what your application layer is telling. So what is application layer? See, that is why when you start about OSI model, right, you have to say from the application layer. So why? Because first of all, the user, which means we people are the user. So when we type something on the browser is kind of an application. Okay, so we are interacting with the application, and that whatever we typed in the browser, that is internally it interacts with the application layer protocol. Can you tell me what are the protocols comes in application layer? Yesterday I asked you to see this one, right?
DNS.
Okay,
DHCP.
DNS will come, DHCP will come. Next, Rachit,
FTP.
FTP will come.
HTTP.
Perfect. Yeah,
HTTP and HTTPS.
that's it. Anything? Trimalesh?
Web browser.
No, web browser is an application. Web browser. Okay, I'll tell you what
Yeah,
are the
file
applications.
transfer protocol.
Huh? Yeah,
File
FTP was
transfer
done.
protocol.
Telnet.
You can say telnet. Okay.
SFTP.
DHCP.
DHCP is there. Come on, guys. So there is one protocol. Okay,
Network
which
time
is
protocol.
huh?
Network time protocol. NTP.
NTP. Okay.
IP stack.
Who
Simple
is told
network
IPsec?
management protocol.
Me,
I will gonna
Avinash.
kill you guys. Okay, don't blabber it simply. Okay, so that will, you know, gives very bad impression. Okay, IPsec, what do you mean by IPsec? Okay, forget about it. Don't deviate the topic. Now tell me, what are the protocols? There are a lot of protocols which will work here.
Simple network management protocol, SNMP.
Exactly, SNMP. This is what I am expecting. Next.
SMTP.
Of the mail services
Correct.
protocols will be
SMTP.
used.
Perfect. Okay, so these are the protocols. Still, there is a lot of things which will be working here.
And POP3,
POP and IMAP.
DNS.
DNS already done, right, Avinash? You're simply repeating the same thing. What and all I write here.
No, Anna. I've yesterday I've make a note. So in that
Okay.
note,
Okay.
referring the
Fine,
points.
fine. So what the application layer is doing? See, application layer which is acting as the interface. Okay. So which is acting as the interface between the user and the application. Simple. See, so whatever the user is typing, right? User is typing on the browser. So what does the browser is doing, which in turn interacts with the application layer protocol? So this is an application layer protocol. So what is the protocol? Which protocol? So the user is typing something, www.amazon.com. So Amazon, I mean, you know, it is a HTTPS or HTTP. When you type something like www, right, it's a web traffic. So web traffic will always go to the web server. So web server which is make use of the protocols like HTTP and HTTPS. Okay,
443.
so it's gonna communicate with HTTP. Don't worry, I'll give you that work, the port numbers and all. Tomorrow's classes you have to work on the port numbers. Okay, so what is happening in the application layer now? Application layer which is acting as the interface. See, this is an interface between the user and the application network. Okay, so what you have to say for the application layer, application layer, the user which is interacts with the application can be a browser or a web, you know, or the Outlook or a, you know, Skype, whatever it is. Okay, so those are the applications. Okay, so the user interacts with the application. So there's that application which is internally interacts with another application layer protocol. So that is what it is doing here. All right, guys. So that is what your application layer is doing. Any questions on this application layer? Any questions on this application layer? No?
no sir.
No.
Okay, let's go with the, what is the next one, Ashwini? What is the next layer?
Presentation, sir.
Presentation layer. Perfect. So keep your phone silent, okay? Guys, so can you tell me in which language I'm communicating with you?
English.
If I talk in Urdu, can anyone able to understand my, so whatever I'm communicating?
Yes.
People listen
Huh?
and they can understand.
I know the language. I can understand.
If the person is like known to
Okay,
that language,
if I talk in Bengali, so who is going to understand? Everyone can able to understand.
no.
Okay, so in presentation layer, right? See, so presentation layer. So what does the presentation layer is going to do? So there are a lot of services which are doing in presentation layer. So, but what is the main purpose of presentation layer now? So the presentation layer ensures that the data from the sending application, there is some data. So the data from the sending application, sending side has to be understood by the receiving side. Okay, so the presentation layer ensures that the data needs to be sending from the sending side has to be understandable by the receiving side. Okay,
Okay.
got it? Okay, so there should be same format. So whatever the data you're sending it, it should be the same format. So if you ask me what else if it is not in the same format, then if it is not in the same format, then presentation layer can do some translation services. It's going to do some translate. It will make sure the data of sending from the sending side has to be understood by the receiving side. If it is not, if the data is not in the correct format, the presentation layer can do some translation. So which means that it's going to translate the data in a format so that that format has to be understood by the receiving side to communicate. All right. Any questions?
So
Which
it
means
will
that converting
exactly
the data into one format, okay, from converting the data into one format into the another format, so that both the application can able to understand the format. For example, see, you have an application, you have some data, so that data is in a PDF, but this guy is not accepting the PDF. This guy will accept, in a, let's take it in JPEG format, just an example. Okay, so what does it do? The presentation layer, it converts the data from PDF to JPEG. Okay, converts data from one format to another format, so that the receiving side can able to understand the JPEG format. So there will be some techniques, so that is the translation services will be doing on. Okay, so understood, guys? What do you mean by presentation layer?
So it, actually I have one doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it will transfer, like translate the data exactly, like without
Exactly.
any
Yes,
changes, small changes.
obviously. So for example, you have some data here. Okay, so what, it's in a one format. So whatever the data you have inside it, right, it's going to be exactly in your different format. So if anything is missing, right, then what is the use of sending the data? So I will show in practically, in a real time how it will be. Okay, see, I'll give you an example now. And also presentation layer can also perform some encryption services. Okay, so presentation layer can do some encryption and compression and encryption services, compression services. So you know what I mean by compression, right? Anyone?
Yeah.
Everyone? Compression means it's going to shrink the data. For example, the data is sending by this guy, it's a very big, it's like 1 GB data. Okay, it's going to shrink it and make it like, like a 500 MB and send it to this guy. For compression the data, what are the techniques it's going to be used? Guys, if you have a large data, if you want to shrink
MTU.
it and
MTU.
sorry,
I mean, it will divide into smaller segments, or it,
no, not that, not so that will come in later part.
I mean, maximum transmission.
No.
Application talking about.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Compression, man, not divided.
I'm not talking, didn't go there. Okay, see, you have
Okay,
like a
okay.
huge amount
Any
of data.
application which is used to compress and send the
So
data.
what are the techniques it's going to use to compress the data? So it has to, let's see, this is looking like a very big data. So now it has to shrink it. How it's going to shrink it? You know that. What are the techniques will be there? What are the come on, you just rush it. See guys,
Yes.
this is one. So it's compressed and I've uncompressed. So how did I uncompress this one?
Extract.
Correct. Extract all. It's going to use some extracting and zip. Okay.
Zip file.
Yeah. See guys, if you, let's take it, this is like, if you see this one, right? See, I have like so much of data I have here in this thing. Okay, so I can compress it. And I can make it like this zip file. So what are the techniques I'm using? Like WinZip. So this is one example I'm giving it to you. So the presentation layer, it's going to compress, it's going to provide the services like compression and encryption. So we saw now compression. Compression means, So whatever the data you have, it's going to be get shrink. It use some techniques like WinZip and other RAR. So those things and all
WinRAR.
this WinRAR, yeah. So it's going to use that. That will be automatically doing it. Okay. So I'm just letting you to know. So compression services means that one. Okay. So now encryption services. This is very, very important, guys.
Lock,
Very, sorry.
like locking the, means encrypting the,
Don't
like
worry. I'll
safety.
tell you.
Okay.
See, guys. Now tell me. This is my PC. I have a browser. Okay. I'm connecting to the internet. From internet, it goes to my server. Okay. See, I open SBI Bank online netbanking.com. So the moment when the user type the online netbanking.com, right? So what will happen? See, online SBI net banking, I type. I clicked on this link. Stupid thing. Okay. So what is it asking me to do?
Using our data.
Avinash, come on.
Using
What is there in your
password.
mouth? Avinash,
Anna,
unmute yourself. What is there here?
username.
So when you type online net banking, right? So what is it it's asking to you enter? See,
Authenticate.
To authenticate to
to
username
authenticate
and
yourself,
password.
right? So to
Yes.
authenticate, so it's asking you to enter the username and the password, correct? So let's take it. My username is Satya and my password is 456. Okay. So when you type sbi.com in the browser, right? So it's asking you to enter the username and the password. So once you enter the username and the password, it opens the web page, right? But how the web browser knows, or how this knows whether username and password you entered is correct or not? So what will happen here? See, so whatever username and password
It
you
will fetch
entered, right?
it will authenticate from our database where
See,
they have
I'll
been
show you.
saved.
Okay, so this is your database. So this is your SBI server. Okay, you have a database server inside the SBI server. Okay, so there is a username like Satya 123 or 456. You know, Tanny 123, like that. So once you enter the username, right, and password, so this request will go and hit to this server. Inside the server, you will go to and hit to the database server. From database server, it's going to see for this username, this is the password. Yes, if it is validated from here, then it will try to open the application. Okay, that's how it works, guys. Now let's see if I'm entering the username and the password. So your web server, your SBI server is somewhere sitting in the Mumbai data center. In India, we have a data center, only one data center we have, that is which is in Mumbai. Okay, so and this is going over the internet. Let's take it, I'm in Vishakhapatnam. Okay, so first it will go to my ISP. From ISP it will go to the internet. From internet it will go to the internet, this server. Okay, now carefully listen, guys. This is very important here. See, if there is a hacker, he is a hacker, so he can steal the username and password. So what he can see, what is the username and what is the password, he can take that and he will initiate a separate session to this database server, to this sbibank.com, and he can log in and he can get the money transfer. Is that possible? Yes or no? Please tell me, guys.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It's
Yes,
possible,
Satya.
but we have a firewalls,
Right.
encryption.
Why firewall encryption and all? See, what is the server is going to do? What is server is going to do? Server is going to verify whether whatever the request is coming, okay, it's going to check in database server. It's validated or not. Once it's validated, and it will go. I'm giving the right username and right password. Correct. So definitely it's going to allow the connection for me, for the hacker. So what is it going to do? The presentation layer. So whatever the data you're sending it, right? So that is going to be what? You have this data, right? That is going to, first of all, the data, whatever you're sending, it's going to be converted into a specific format. This converted data, what will happen? It's going to be encrypted. Something like this. So they'll be using some encryption methods like AES, advanced encryption services, okay, digital encryption services, 3 digital encryption services. So these are the techniques is going to be used to encrypt the data. So that's why when you type, see, I'm typing something like here. If I type something like this here on the password, right? See what is it doing? It's giving a dot dot dot. It's in like it's in a hash trick, guys. Okay, so it's giving like a hash trick symbol. So which means the password is going to be get encrypted. Now you understand what is the presentation layer is doing? Presentation layer, it's going to do some converting services. Okay, so presentation layer converts the data from one format to another format, which will make sure the data sending from the sending application has to be understood by the receiving services. Okay, if 2 devices not supporting the same format, then presentation layer can do some translation services to communicate. And also additionally, presentation layer can also perform encryption and compression of data. Okay, guys, any more questions on this one, application and presentation layer?
No.
Yeah, hello, Rachit,
No, Satya.
all good?
Yeah, all good.
What are the protocols comes in presentation layer?
HTTP, SNMP.
What in application also same protocols, presentation also same protocols, huh?
Sorry.
Avinash,
LPP Anna, LPP,
what do you mean by LPP?
lightweight presentation protocol,
Okay,
NCP, network core protocol,
what is
network,
that?
NCP, network core protocol,
I don't know that one. Next.
network data representation,
Okay, next.
telnet,
One important protocol which will work here. So Trimlesh, you're able to follow?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the presentation layer doing? It's doing some encryption services, right? For encryption services, there will be one protocol which will be there.
SSH.
What is another name for SSH?
secure,
Huh?
SSL.
Okay, what is another name for SSL? SSL latest version.
Telnet.
Transport layer security. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, what is the next layer, Ashwini? After presentation?
Session layer, sir.
Sorry.
Session layer.
Okay.
Session layer.
So what is a session layer? So in your terminology, what do you mean by session layer?
Yeah. To open and close the session. To establish the connection
That's a
between
common
the
thing. Okay. So what is the session layer is going to do? For example, if you have a PC and if you try communicating with the server, okay, the server. So what does the session layer is going to do? Session layer is responsible for establishing the session, maintaining the session, and terminating the session. This is a common thing which everyone is going to say. Okay, but there is some two important features that session layer is going to do. What else if the session is broken? See, you're communicating and the session got broken due to some reasons. Okay, automatically the session will be recovered. If the session is broken, this layer attempts to recover the session. That is the advantage of the using the session layer. Okay, understand guys? And one more thing, this is one of the very important feature you won't be finding on the internet. One thing, if I'm going to tell you right now for the session layer, see, you have a PC, you have opened a browser, you have opened a Google Chrome. I mean, sorry, you have on one browser. See, so this is my browser, right? So first I opened Gmail, and next I opened www.youtube.com, and next I open facebook.com, and next I open amazon.com. See guys, if I open Gmail came. If I open YouTube came. If I open Facebook came. If I open Amazon came, right? So who is giving this all this information? Who is giving all this information? See, there is some software. Okay, so this PC, whenever you're typing the google.com or facebook.com or youtube.com or amazon.com in a 5 different tabs, okay, so you're getting the right data. Whatever you type it, you're getting the right data. So there should be some software has to support and has to provide the right data whatever the user type in. So that software, so that is provided by the session layer. Session layer is responsible for the providing the right information. For example, when the user types like Google has to come. So YouTube has to come. If I type Google, if I'm coming, facebook.com, that is it's not it's not good, right? So session layer, what is going to do? So what session layer is responsible for providing the right session to the user whatever he types in. Any questions on the session layer, guys?
No.
Any
sir.
questions?
No, sir.
So what are the protocols comes in session layer? What are the protocols comes in session layer?
TCP,
No.
point-to-point tunneling protocol.
Might be. Okay. Next.
Transport layer security, TLS.
No.
No.
Any other? Rachit, did you see this or not?
Zip protocol.
What is that?
Zip protocol.
Full form?
Zone information protocol.
Zone information protocol. I don't know. I have to check. Next.
It's reacting router protocol, RRP.
RRP. Yeah, is there. Next.
RTP control protocol.
RTP, I can say. Next. Any other? SIP, session initiation protocol. This is one very important thing. Okay, SIP protocol which will come. PAP, password authentication protocol. There's still a lot of things are there. Okay, so what is the next layer, Ashwini, after session layer?
Transport layer, sir.
I don't know whether till now you listened or not, but here onwards it's going to be more tough. Okay, you have application layer, presentation layer, session layer. Okay, so guys, there will be a data. Okay, so when the user types in, right, automatically it will go to the application layer, come down to the presentation to session layer. So this is called as a raw data. The raw data will come down to transport layer. So it's going to be get segmented. Okay, so this is called as a segmented data. how data is being segmented, we will discuss in TCP protocol. Okay. Now, so transport layer, the data came from the upper layer to the transport layer, right? I mean, the presentation to the transport layer. So the data is going to be segmented. So once the data is segmented, right, transport layer is going to decide whether the data is going to be sent reliable connection or unreliable connection. Transport layer is transport layer. This is it's gonna chooses that it's gonna choose how data needs to be sent, reliable or unreliable. How it's going to be chosen? How transport layer is going to be chosen? How the data needs to be sent? It has to be sent reliable or unreliable. But how it's going to be choosing? So based on the application layer protocol. The application layer protocol, if we are using HTTP is a TCP protocol, so TCP uses reliable connection, so we're going to send it to reliable connection. Or in the application layer where we are using DNS, okay, so DNS is a UDP protocol, so in transport layer we're going to use unreliable. If it is a DNS, we're going to choose unreliable. Any questions, guys? Any questions? So basically transport layer means it is going to decide whether the packet has to be sent reliable connection or unreliable connection. If it is a reliable now, it's going to choose a TCP connection. If it is an unreliable now, it's going to use UDP connection. We're going to talk about these two things okay, in upcoming classes. All right, guys, any questions so far?
No, sir.
All clear? So what are the protocols comes in transport layer?
Yeah, TCP and UDP.
TCP, UDP,
Perfect.
HTTP,
Right. Avinash,
OSPF.
why
Well,
HTTP? OSPF. Right,
Anna.
where
Well,
do you see all
TCP
these things?
transmission control protocol and UDP user datagram protocol.
Yeah, right. See, only TCP and UDP. Okay, Ashwini, what is the next layer after transport layer?
Nah, when I searched for transport protocols yesterday, but I've got OSPF also.
That is stupid people. Go and complain to those people when they say OSPF comes in transport layer now. Okay. You have the rights to complain. You can complain.
Yes.
Network layer, sir.
Yeah, network layer. So the data, whatever you have in transport layer, it has been segmented, right? So when it comes to the network layer, right? So what the segmented data? So this is called as a segmented data, which will come down to the network layer. The data what is segmented in previously, it's going to be converted into packets. Okay, the network layer is responsible for finding the best path to reach to the destination. Here onwards, more complicated. When we go deeper, things will be complicated. Okay. From here onwards, my entire career, it starts from network layer, data link layer, and physical layer onwards. Finding the paths, finding the best path to reach to the destination. Okay, so so whatever the data you have in transport layer, that will be cut down into segmented. The segmented data will come down to the network layer, it converts into packets. So in network layer, IP address will come. So there will be a source IP and there will be a destination IP, and the routers will work here. Okay, routing will be done here in network layer. So it used to route the traffic from one network to another network. So if you look into my first class, right, Rachit and Avinash, these girls, okay, if you see, I asked you one question. So 192.168.1.1, 192.168.1.2. So what is the device I have to use if they want to communicate?
Switch.
Switch router.
Huh?
Switch and router, sir.
Why Just a layer
Switch.
to switch is enough, na?
Switch.
If it's in the same network, we can use a layer 2.
But
If
for the
it's
next
in
scenario,
different
we use router.
network, we
Avinash,
can use the
just
route.
try to understand my question. Okay. Can you able to see the screen, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So do you think it's a different network?
No, I'm
You're
just
telling generally, but don't say that generally, don't say that. So whatever is written, say that one. Now you tell me.
for that
Scenario,
scenario, we need to use a switch
For here,
next scenario, we'll use
router.
router. Instead of router, any other device can be used.
L3 switch.
Say like that.
router.
Okay. You should say
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
Okay. So what is happening here? Here network layer. So network layer is responsible for finding the best path to reach the destination. We have a source IP and we have a destination IP here. So routing will be done here. Okay. So routers is going to be used here. Routers is going to be used. So what are the protocols works in network layer?
Yeah, it's IP, AEGRP, OSPF,
ICMP.
ICMP.
Perfect.
Yeah.
ICMP, OSPF, EIGRP, okay,
GRE.
IGMP.
SMTP,
Uh,
Telnet,
where do you see this first of all?
Google Anna.
Where? Show me, share your screen and show me. Hey, tell SMTP and all. Just now they said it works in application layer. And why are you telling again in network layer? Okay. ICMP, IGMP, OSPF, EIGRP, all these things which will comes under IP network layer. Okay. So the purpose of network layer is used to finding the best path to reach to the destination. Source IP and destination IP is going to be added here. Okay. So routing will be done here. Okay. Protocols. These are the protocols comes work here. So what is the next layer, Ashwini?
And data link layer, sir.
What is this called? The data has been
Segmented. Then packets.
when it comes to the data link
Frame.
layer, right? It's going to be converted into frames. So who is responsible for converting the packets into frames?
It's data link layer.
Data link layer. In data link layer, we have two sub layers. One is LLC and one is MAC. The MAC sub layer is responsible for converting the packets into the frames, and these frames will convert into bits and bytes. Okay, and which means zeros and ones, and give it to the physical media. This is an electric cable. I mean, you mean to say like RJ45 cable. So MAC sub layer is converting the frames into bits and bytes. So what are the packets is come, it will be converted into frames. Okay, so and from frames, the MAC sub layer is responsible for converting the frames into bits and bytes, which means zeros and ones, and give it to the physical media. Physical media is nothing but your cable. All right, guys, any questions? Any questions?
No, Satya.
Okay, LLC, logic, data link layer, right? You have two sub layers. One is LLC and one is MAC. LLC stands for logical link control. MAC stands for media access control. What is the use of this media access control? MAC sub layer is responsible for converting the frames into bits and bytes like zeros and ones, and gives the data to the to the physical media, or gives the data to the NIC port. Okay, or you can say MAC sub layer is responsible for converting the frames in bits and bytes and gives the data to the NIC. You can say NIC. To this NIC only, right? Physical cable is connected.
Yes.
So the MAC sub layer is responsible for converting the bits and bytes and give it to the NIC. Okay, and anything? Any questions on this one? Now let's go with the LLC, logical link control. So what is LLC is going to do? LLC is going to do some, whatever the packet is coming from the upper layer, okay, whatever the packet is coming from the upper layer, okay, it's going to do some cyclic redundancy check. So what are the packets so what is the use of this CRC now? It's used to detect transmission errors. Okay, so whatever the packets coming from the upper layer, right, it's going to detect CRC. It's going to do cyclic redundancy check to detect the transmission layer. So how this CRC check is going to be get performed? Now look at this one. You got some data. Okay, it's going to run the algorithm. Even don't ask me what algorithm it is. It's going to run the algorithm. Even till now I don't know what is this algorithm. Okay, that algorithm is called as a CRC algorithm, cyclic redundancy check. It will put a value. Okay, so this is on the sender side. On the receiver side, to also run the algorithm and put a value. This one and this one should match us. Then only the packet will go. If not, it will going to drop the packet. Okay, so LLC sublayer, it is acting as the interface between the upper layer and the lower layer. Okay, and LLC layer is going to perform the it's going to perform it's going to perform cyclic redundancy check to detect the transmission errors. Okay, and also LLC sublayer can also perform flow control and error checking. What? LLC sublayer also do flow control and error checking. Flow control means, so for example, if the upper layer is sending a more packets, but data link like not able to accept, not able to process those packets. Okay, so what is the flow control which is going to do? It's going to limit. Okay, please wait. It's going to say, please wait, I have to process what are the packets you sent. It's going to limit the sending side application. It's going to limit the number of packets. So it's the flow control. Let's try to slow down the no, it won't slow down the process. If you have too much of too much of packets is coming now, it's going to do some flow control. Okay, so the logical link control, it's going to perform flow control and error checking also, same like CRC check. Okay, so LLC sublayer, first of all, when it comes to LLC sublayer, right, LLC is acting as the interface between the upper layer and lower layers. LLC is going to perform CRC check to detect the transmission errors. LLC has also performed some flow control and error checking and media access control. The purpose of media access control, whatever the data you have, it's been converted into frames. The MS is responsible for converting the frames into bits and bytes. All right, guys, any questions on this one? Any questions?
No, Satya.
And next we have physical layer. Physical layer, this is one main thing. See, you have the frames, right? Okay, so what is the max sublayer is doing? It's responsible for converting the frames into bits and bytes and gives the data to the NIC port. Correct? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, to this NIC port of an RJ45 cable is connected. The data has to go over the RJ45, right, in the form of 0 or 1. Okay, so how this data is being represented, that is what is doing by the physical layer. Got it, guys?
Yeah.
How actual data is being represented and sending over the physical cable, physical wire, it's done by the physical layer. How the data is being represented, okay, how data is represented now, how the data is converting, it's already converted, and how the data is going over the electric signal. Okay, it's been done by the physical layer. Any questions on this one? So here what will be used? Some cables will be used, some encoding, data encoding methods will be used. Okay, understand, guys?
Yes, Satya.
Okay, So that is what the OSI model in detail. I'm sharing, I already share the documents. Please go through it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Any questions, guys?
No, Satyam.
All good?
Yeah, Satya.
I'll share the recordings. Just go through it. It's just easy only. Tomorrow we'll have slight discussion on TCP and we'll start some other topic.
Okay, Satya.
Okay, Satya.
TCP IP protocol.
Okay,
Okay.
Satyam.
Okay, guys, I'm stop sharing it. Okay.
Okay, Satyam. Bye.
Done for the day. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you, Anna.